We have now followed Arthur Mee to Yarpole, which has one of the 7 detached church towers of Herefordshire, probably 700 years old, and with 2 stories, the lower one of stone and the top one of wood, with a shingled roof and a spire. In all the land there are less than 50 towers detached from their churches, and this one is particularly striking, for the sloping roof with its projecting ledges gives it something of the appearance of an Eastern pagoda. It's extraordinary being in this building here, because partly these 4 enormous trunks of trees here, which the building is made from, these trees were 200 years old when they were felled, and you can see the axe marks in them. And to think that this was made so many hundreds of years ago, and it's still standing now, and it's had various changes a bit, but these are still standing. And on the floor, the tiles of Victorian, which were taken from the church when it was renovated, but around there are the cobbles, the original cobbles. So we're standing in such an ancient structure. They can't ring the bells as a peal of bells now, but they can just chime them, and they've got the ropes hanging up there so nobody can pull them by mistake. So it's still used for the bells even now. Much of the church has been made new, but the nave still has its medieval roof, a 14th century corbel with the head of a woman, and a font bowl probably 700 years old. The west window with the Good Shepherd, Saints Cecilia and Charity, is in memory of a 19th century soldier, and there is a lovely marble panel of St Hubert and St Martin in memory of a soldier who died in France. The reredos has a painting of the Good Shepherd with adoring angels on either side. Yarpole is quite a small village. I don't know how many people are living here, 200 or so maybe. But as we've been standing outside the church, and constantly people have been coming back and forth, and every single one has said hello, and so it's been really friendly and nice to know that people are using the shop.
Because my father wanted to insist on it. And I was absolutely adamant.
No, we haven't got the
He was just
We've come to Croft Castle now, not far from Yarpole, and it's been in the same family, the Croft family, since the Domesday Book, which is absolutely amazing. There's a wonderful views over many counties, and now the National Trust are running it, and so we're going to explore around the castle and the little church. We are in the church of St Michael and All Angels, just a few steps east of the castle, and it's built of rough local stone from the 14th and 15th century, and it has a bell turret with a clock, and the church was enlarged and reconsecrated in 1515, so that's a pretty long time ago too. And there is some of the tiles on the floor were belonging to the original church from the Malvern kilns. And the chancel roof is of the collar beam type. There is some angels' heads which were painted probably when the ceiling was painted. And there's a tremendous altar tomb of Sir Richard Croft, who died in 1509, and his wife, Dame Eleanor, who had been a widow of Sir Hugh Mortimer. The effigies represent very old people and are most probably portraits. The carvings on the tomb have been compared to those in Henry VII's chapel of Westminster Abbey. For Sir Richard Croft had been treasurer to the king's household and died in the same year as Henry VII. We have come from Croft Castle, which was owned by the same family from the Domesday times, to Berrington Hall, which was built in the 1770s by Thomas Harley. And so this is a Georgian mansion. Inside it's really beautiful, and because there haven't been any changes made over the few hundred years that it's been created. And the parkland was the last project for Capability Brown to design. Now the A49 goes through part of it, and so most of the time you can hear the traffic. But when it was first designed, the family owned the land way beyond the A49, and obviously it may have been a lane then, but nothing as to what there is now. That was Berrington Hall, Georgian grandeur on a human scale. We are following Arthur Mee, and we have come to Church, where we're going to find a memorial to Richard Harley, who owned Berrington Hall. We can see Berrington Hall across the way, and also a wonderful field of little baby lambs, the first ones we've seen. So it's really lovely to come here. Eye has the Old English name for an island because it lies between two streams. Its church and manor stand side by side on a little hill, a quaintly trimmed yew hedge separating them, and 6 cypresses like Noah's Ark trees bordering the path from the Peace Memorial Lich Gate. The church has been here from Norman days, and the manor house with its grand staircase since the 17th century. The fine church tower with a corner turret rising above the battlements was made new last century, but the oak porch with its carved barge head barge board is 600 years old and has a Norman doorway with an arch moulding continued to the ground. On the other side of the church is a Norman doorway blocked up with a 14th century window let into it. The interior is pleasing with its many old arches, odd little windows in the aisles, and quatrefoil windows in the clerestory. There is a font about 600 years old, a 17th century pulpit with quaint figures of 2 men and a woman, and the names of old church wardens, and 17th century panels of curious dolphins on modern benches. 2 battered figures on a 16th century altar tomb are believed to represent Sir Richard Cornwall of Berrington Hall and his wife Jane. On the front of their tombs are 4 sons and 2 daughters, and a quaint Annunciation scene. On another tomb is the figure of one of their 14th century ancestors, a proud knight with SS collar and cross pendant, his feet on a lion and his gauntlets by his side.